Good morning. Good morning. We are talking about emotion suppression takes your energy. So let's talk about how to free it. Okay. Suppression is taking your energy. So let's talk about how to free it on this morning. So today's title for our life lesson today is suppression is expensive. So let's set it free. And we're talking about energy and emotions, right? And we're in this series, and I think this is a great series. I'm just cutting off everything. I think this is a great series. I know this is a great series. This month, we're talking about the stories that we tell ourselves and really how to rewrite our story because this is season two. This is season two of Project Life, and this time is personal. And if I don't do anything this whole year, it's just to encourage you to take control of your life. All right, take control of your life. And what is life? Again, it's your love of self, your interactions with others, your focus, and your emotions. And today we're wrapping up the S in stories. See the pattern. All right, see the pattern. We're talking about emotional suppression on today, emotional suppression. I think we're all guilty of it, right? So this session is really here to bring together the emotional cost of our silence, the nervous system truth about what suppression really is, giving us divine or spiritual permission to feel and to release, right? And then a deeply grounded, practical call to really stop carrying what's been burying you, right? If you know, my title is a life coach, but emotional strategist. And one of my goals is to truly, truly just get people back in relationship with their emotions. You know, we've heard things like the heart is deceptive, we've been hurt. So a lot of us are truly living in emotional disconnect and fight, freeze, or fawn, right? And we have to start to adjust our nervous system so that we can go into what we call safe and social, right? And the only way we're going to get to safe and social is to befriend our emotions and really start to feel again. So I'm excited about today's conversation. Suppression is expensive, so let's set it free because I do think that suppressing our emotions is costing us a lot, you guys. It's really costing us a lot. Listen, it's not the emotions that's draining you. Okay, it's the effort to suppress it. So it's not actually the feelings that's getting to you, it's the fact that we won't be honest about how we feel about people, places, and things, right? You've been carrying it, you've been numbing it, you've been swallowing it, you've been praying it away. And guess what? All of that is what's exhausting. All right. So in today's Project Life, or in today's life lesson, season two, this time is personal, right? We're talking about emotional suppression and the energetic cost of staying silent. All right. And why? Because you don't release, you store. So when I first started the project, you heard me talk about these neuropeptides that basically emotions are digested and thoughts are processed. And I think we try to process our emotions. So at some point, just similar to eating. That's how I want to say it. So similar to how you eat, we chew the food, we put the food in our mouth, we bite down, we bite it, and then we have what's called a digestive system. That digestive system does everything else to the food. So we don't have to do anything else until it's time to what? To relieve it, right? To relieve ourselves of that food. In a way, that's how emotions work. All right. We accept our emotion. That's kind of like we're chewing it. We're digesting it, right? And at some point we let go. Because when we don't let go, what happens is we'll have another thought that has another emotion and another thought that has another emotion. So the truth of the matter is that an emotion really only wants to last like 90 seconds. So that anger that you feel, it only wants to be present for 90 seconds. That sadness that you feel, it only wants to be present for 90 seconds. But guess why we stay in months and years of anger? Because we will attach a thought to the anger. So it's like somebody say something, it makes you angry, then it triggers a thought, I can't believe they said that. So then you're angry about the non-belief of them saying that. And then you think about the last time they did that, and then now you got another emotion about that. And then you're thinking about if they try to do it again, right? And so it becomes kind of like this dance that now strings this emotion along, but it's actually being orchestrated by you because you keep adding a thought or a narrative or a story to the emotion. And so that emotion, it just starts to expand itself, right? But it's new emotions behind each thought, behind each narrative. All right. Now, that's not a problem in if we know that that's what's happening, right? Because then we can just shut it down and just like, okay, I'm gonna feel this anger, right? And I'm gonna accept it. But a lot of us are not even aware that we are the one who's expanding this moment of anger into more and more and more anger, or this moment of sadness into more and more and more sadness. And guess what? We even do it when we meet new people, when we fall in love, right? So you get the feeling of love, and then you start telling yourself, like, what if he's the one? What if she's the one, right? We're going to have this great thing, right? And so you start to fantasize, and now you get, in a sense, caught up in this big feeling that you created, and then you project it onto that person like, oh, I'm just so in love with you. I couldn't stop thinking about you. And it was because of all of this stuff that you did. And it really isn't what they did created an emotion, but you kept that emotion going by whatever the narrative was that you said. So if that makes sense, put a heart in the chat room. All right. Again, it's not the emotions that's draining you, it's the effort to suppress them that is what is draining you. Listen, you've been carrying it, you've been numbing it, you've been swallowing it, praying it away, and it's just exhausting. All right. Because what you don't release, guess what you store? And again, we're talking about those neuropeptides. We digest our emotions. So, what we don't allow ourselves to feel, we actually store it in our bodies, you guys. And your body keeps the score. All right. So, a lot of us have still stored emotions from when we were 2, 3, 4 years old. And guess what? Some of us have the emotions that our grandparents stored, right? Just in our bodies, right? And so, we have to be still, learn how to meditate, and learn how to release, right? Release this emotion. All right. So I want to ask you this: what emotion or truth have you been carrying that's draining your energy? Okay, let's name it. Right. What emotion have you been holding for so long? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it shame? Is it fear? Is it resentment? Is it disappointment? Is it grief? Listen, your body remembers and your energy reflects that. All right. But here's your truth: you can set yourself free, right? You can set yourself free by allowing this emotion to really digest, right? And so this is why I encourage you to go to therapy, right? Get a new perspective. And I want to talk about why we are emotionally constipated. And one big reason that we're emotionally constipated, I'm using that word intentional because I want you to see like what I'm saying. We are emotionally constipated because the narrative that we're telling is kind of like tough steak. So I'm giving an example. It's hard to swallow a tough steak, right? You chewing on it, but it's like you feel like you're gonna choke, so you spit it out. Okay. The narrative that you're telling yourself about the situation is like the tough steak. It's hard to fathom it. It's hard to digest that, right? So if you're telling yourself a story about a situation that happened and that story is very hard to digest or to chew on, then you're going to stay in this emotional, in a sense, emotionally stuck. So the power of life is to truly find a way that I can digest life. That is your superpower, right? How can I tell myself something about this situation that's empowering, where I've learned a lesson so that I can eat this up, digest it. It can give me what I need. I can get rid of what I don't, and I can keep living. But a lot of us, because we have what we call victim mentality, because we feel like life is happening to us, right? Because in that paradigm, we talk about emotional intelligence, we're stuck in duty phase or victim stage. We're looking at this situation as so big and life is against me, and that's very hard to chew. All right, that's very hard to chew on, that's very hard to digest. So we have to learn how to tell ourselves a different story so that we can start digesting the things that happen to us emotionally and processing it, right, mentally, so that we can move through life, right? And so we can get unstuck. If that makes sense, put a heart in the chat. All right. So here's my powerful question for you today. How much of your exhaustion is physical? I mean, how much of your exhaustion isn't physical? It's emotional. All right. It's not just the doing that's draining you, it's the pretending. All right. Pretending that you're okay, pretending you're not hurt, and pretending that it didn't matter. All right. Listen, suppression isn't strength, it's actually self abandonment with a smile. All right. So when we're suppressing our emotions, guess what? That's not a strength. It's actually you're abandoning yourself. And it's such a interesting thing because we want people to feel our emotions. So when you hurt my feeling, I want you to be present enough with me and understand that how that made me feel. Or if I love you, I want you to sit with me so that I can really show you or tell you how much I love you. And I want you to be present enough with me in my hurt, in my love, right, to be there so we can bond. But you know what? We won't do that for ourselves. We will suppress our own feelings. We won't be a witness of our own hurt. We won't be a witness of our own love, right? But we want other people to. And then we feel rejected and awed, and we cut other people off for doing the very thing to us that we do to ourselves. And that's the self abandonment, right? And when we learn how to stop abandoning ourselves, then what we give to ourselves, the world will start to give to us. And when we're suppressing emotions, a big part of that is self abandonment, you guys, with a smile. And it costs you your presence, your clarity, and your peace. All right. So today we're going to open the valve a little bit, right? And let some of the pressure off of you, right? Let some of this emotional weight off of you. All right. Why am I having this session? Because so many of us are tired, all right, not from life, but from carrying unspoken emotions, all right. And I want to, in this life lesson, kind of teach you that your energy isn't just physical, you guys, it's emotional, all right, it's spiritual, and you can claim that, right, and it's reclaimable. All right, this is not a place to become judgmental, right? This is not a place to come down on yourself. This is really to become aware, and hopefully, with the level of awareness in that, you will feel lighter. All right, so here's my disclaimer again, this is not an invitation to trauma dump. This is an invitation to notice, right? If you saw my interview when I talked about friends, right? The friends framework on the news, right? One of the things I said is being a friend is noticing, right? Noticing your friends, right? Noticing their hair, noticing their smile, noticing if they're picked up weight, right? Noticing things. And that's the same thing with being a friend to yourself, noticing, right, your mood change, noticing your energy levels, right? So this is not an invitation to trauma dump. This is an invitation to notice ourselves. All right, notice ourselves. Emotional release is not about reacting, it's really just about witnessing, right? It's about seeing it. All right, so you don't have to fix it all today. But you do need to feel what you've been ignoring and prep yourself to feel that. And you may need support in that. So if you need support, I encourage you to get a therapist. I encourage you to get a coach. You can join the project, right? To really help you move these neuropeptides in your body, right? Move this emotion, start to really digest these situations that's happening to us, reframing them by looking at them differently so that you can chew on it, right? And it's not as tough to swallow. It's very hard to tell. It's very hard to accept some of the stories that we tell ourselves about life. So I understand why you are emotionally constipated, right? Because the way you telling that story, I mean, it's just hard for anybody to really digest it, right? So we have to learn how to be compassionate and gentle with ourselves so that we can tell ourselves a story. Now, many of you know that my background, like I grew up in a very abusive home, physically abusive, mentally abusive, sexually abusive, and all of that. And I can remember talking to a colleague about my experiences when I was younger, and the colleague was like, I don't know, like whether to like how to feel. Like the story you telling, like you're telling it with such ease that a part of me is like, wow, right? But you're telling it in a way where like I don't know whether to hug you or like, but what I had to learn how to do was tell myself a story of resilience, right? About the experiences that happened to me so that I can digest that, so I can forgive the individuals that were involved in that, right? And I can keep moving. So when I talk about it, I'm not lifting this emotion off of me and placing it on somebody to be for them to validate my feeling. I'm telling a story of resilience, right? And that can sometimes leave a lot of people, oh, like, I can't believe you've been through so much. It doesn't seem like you're right because of the way I chose to tailor that story. And that doesn't let anybody off the hook. But what it does is it frees me. All right. It frees me. If that makes sense, put a heart in the chat for me. So good morning. Good morning. It took a minute for me to get to the morning. It's 16, right? Good morning. It is self-validation Friday. What a great day to talk about emotional suppression. So good morning, good morning. It is self-validation Friday. I want to welcome you back to Life Lessons. We know that Life Lessons is a part of Project Life, and Project Life is where we turn theory into practice. Okay. And we do that through a number of ways, right? Through the life lessons, through these conversations. But one of the things I want to ask you to do is you want to be a part of, continue to be a part of the life lessons as I'm taping this, right? To go onto Spotify for the YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe to our Spotify YouTube channel. I mean, Spotify channel, which is Life Lessons with Dr. Sheila Little. And then make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel, I Am Shaping Solutions, and invite a friend to the Elevating Life group. All right, because we're going to be having conversations, and we already have conversations in there just to build community. So, good morning. I want you to drop a word in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling on this morning. Right, I'm feeling grateful. It's the end of the week. It's September 5th. My son's birthday was yesterday. He turned 24. I was thinking, man, I was 23 when I had him, right? So he turned 24. So I got to really experience that on yesterday. So I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling grateful on today. Let's just kind of do a quick body scan. We usually start at our feet, but I want to start at the top of our heads, just kind of scanning and accepting our body for what it is. So down our eyes, right? Nose, mouth, our shoulders, just kind of scanning our bodies, right? Like, right? And just noticing every cell, right? And just bringing some compassion, not trying to change anything, just accepting us for who we are in this moment. Again, the first step into transformation is accepting what is, all right? Not changing it. So down our legs, just accepting who we are and what we are as we are on today, okay? All right. And then kind of just a nice, soft, I love you, right? And a thank you to this beautiful body that has brought us this far, right? This mind, right? And if we're feeling a little tight, just kind of open up, right? Open up our heart space. And if we're feeling like we're taking on too much, kind of bringing ourselves in a little bit. All right. So that was a quick check in on our bodies. I hope that you're feeling good in your body on this Friday. All right. Now, I do want you to know we did that scan. I want you to ask yourself, where do you feel some tension at in your body? All right. Is this emotional? Is it physical? Right? And where are you holding what you haven't said? So as you start to scan your body, I want you to think, where do I feel tight? Not to judge it, but like, because remember, the body keeps the score. All right. And when we can start noticing that, we don't have to judge it, but we can give it permission to leave. I notice you. You can leave now. Thank you. Right. All right. So who this session is for? This is for you if you're always tired, even after rest. This is for you if you carry resentment, you've never voiced. And this lesson is for you if you become the master of I'm fine. I'm fine. And you're really not. All right. If you're holding energy that doesn't belong to you anymore, guess what? This lesson is for you. This lesson is for you. So here's the powerful quote for today. What you suppress doesn't disappear. It actually just collects interest. Okay. So I think that's powerful. I think that we think what we suppress goes away and it doesn't. It's kind of like leaving money in the bank. You put it in there, it was $1, and then you look 10 years later and now it's like $100, right? So what we suppress, it doesn't disappear, you guys. It actually creates interest, all right? So suppression is not something that we want to collect interest on. We want to, get rid of it. We want to leave it. We want to remove it out of our life, all right? Listen, here's our discussion. Every emotion has an energy, all right? And that energy needs to move. It doesn't need to be managed. It doesn't need to be minimized. It doesn't need to be buried. It needs to move, right? And that is what really emotions are, right? Energy and motion, right? Unspoken grief, if we don't learn how to move that, it turns into fatigue. Repressed anger, if we don't know how to move that, it begins to uh, turn into anxiety. All right. Sadness, if we don't move that, it hardens and it becomes this apathy, right? And apathy is like where we just don't care anymore. All right. Emotions are not the problem, you guys. We all have a plethora of emotions, right? If you know, I have shown you the emotional wheel, right? I have shown you the emotional wheel on many of occasions, right? So this is the emotional wheel. You've experienced all of these emotions, right? So in the middle, you have the happiness, the sad, the disgust, right? Bad feeling, surprise, right? And then you have all of these other emotions. So emotions are not never going to be the problem, right? They're never going to be the problem. You know what the problem is? When we suppress them, when we don't allow ourselves to feel those emotions. So this lesson is really an invitation to name what you've been what's been unspoken, and to begin to release it. All right, to release it. All right. Listen, I had a client who couldn't figure out why she was exhausted. All right. She was sleeping, she was eating well, she was doing all the right things. All right. But when we trace back the origin of what was going on, she had 4 years of unspoken anger sitting, guess what, on her chest. All right. And every day she was using her energy to hold it all in. That knot, that heaviness, she was holding that and didn't want to talk about it. In the moment, guess what? She was able to acknowledge that weight, that feeling that she was feeling on her chest, it lifted. Not all at once, you guys, but enough where she could breathe. All right, enough where she could breathe. All right, so I want you to imagine trying to hold on to a beach ball. All right, and try to hold it underwater. And you may have seen a visual of this, but imagine taking a beach ball and trying to hold it underwater. All right. That's what emotional suppression looks like. You can do it for a while, okay? But it takes consistent effort, right? And eventually, guess what? It pops. When you're trying to hold that ball underwater, the water itself is like, we want to lift this ball out of here, right? So your body wants to relieve itself of this emotion, but you are pressing it down, and that's the word. Listen, um, if we keep holding it down, eventually it's gonna pop. That pop may look like you snapping on your kids, you snapping at work, you crying in traffic, you shutting down when you get to the office, right? You feeling like nothing at all. You just totally like, I just don't care anymore. All right. Your body will release it in one way or another. It's going to acknowledge this emotion, whether you choose to release it or not. The body is going to do it. So, again, you snapping on somebody, projecting this emotion, and it's called displaced anger, right? So you mad at everybody except for the person you should be mad at, right? Because the body is going to do what it needs to do, all right, to relieve itself of this emotion. So here is our mirror check-in. I want you to pause. Okay. I want you to pause, and I want you to put down a to do list. All right. I want you to put down the performance just for a moment. And I want you to put down the pressure of saying, okay, okay, the pressure of being okay, the pressure of putting on a facade like everything's okay. All right. And then I want you to ask yourself this: what feeling have I been ignoring? What feeling have I been ignoring? All right. Is it that lump in your chest? All right. Is it that lump in your throat? I'm sorry. Is it the tightness in your chest? Is it the tension that you feel in your shoulders? Listen, that's not stress all the time, you guys. That that is an emotion that's looking to be released. Okay. And what I want you to ask yourself next is, where do I feel this in my body? All right. So I feel the lump in my throat, but where else do I feel it in my body? Right. And really start to do an investigation. All right. Point it out, name it, and then breathe into it. All right. Just take a deep breath. We don't have to judge it. We don't even have to, where did that come from? Why am I feeling this way? We don't know. But we can breathe. We can tell ourselves we're safe. We're safe. Okay. And we can give it permission to move. All right. And again, it's not going to move all at one time, but when we practice giving ourselves permission for this emotion to thaw, in a sense, for it to digest, right? Then we give ourselves, we're empowering ourselves for this emotion to move. All right. All right. I want you to also ask yourself this: what would it feel like to finally say whatever this emotion is out loud, even just to myself? What would it feel like to acknowledge that I'm angry? I'm just feeling really sad right now. Just even to yourself, just to acknowledge that you have a feeling that you haven't spoken or acknowledged, and you've treated like the flowers in the attic. You don't even acknowledge them. Okay. All right. So here's 5 truths that I want you to know about, and I want you to remember about emotions or the suppression. Suppressed emotions, they don't go away. They just go inward. All right. The body is the storage unit for every unspoken emotion you've ever pushed down. All right. That anger that you never expressed, that grief that you never gave space to really exist, the fear you pretended wasn't really there. Listen, they don't eliminate, they don't go away. You absorb it. Okay. And now it's sitting in your gut, it's sitting on your back, it's in your jaw, it's in your skin, it's showing up as migraines, as fatigue, as chronic tension, overwhelmed for no reason, right? Listen, science confirms that stored emotions live in the nervous system in a somatic memory, and your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. And we have to work together. All right. So I want you to ask yourself, what have I been carrying inside that never had a safe exit? All right. And it's your responsibility from today on to try to find a way to give that emotion a place to exit, a safe place to exit. And if you don't feel like you have that now, it's your call to get the help, to go see the therapist, to join the project, to get you a coach, to start journaling, right? To really start to investigate. Number 2, emotional suppression costs physical energy. It costs you physical energy. So you don't just feel tired, you are tired. All right. From hiding your truth. All right. So you are tired from hiding your truth. So every time you hold in a feeling, you're using energy to monitor it. You're using energy to hide it. You're using energy to monitor it and control it. All right. And that's why emotional suppression leads to burnout, to brain fog, to lack of motivation, and to sleep problems, right? You're not weak, you guys. You're drained from using your power to protect everyone else from your truth. I always say suppressing emotions is like the computer, like you got all these tabs up, it's using your energy, but you haven't been to that page. You're like, I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna get there, I'll get there, and you never get there. So you just got all these tabs open in your computer or on your phone, right? You haven't closed out an app or something like that. So it's just open and it's draining your battery, right? And you're wondering why your phone keep draining. But when you go to that one page where you have to close everything out, it's like 50, 60 things open, right? This is what emotional suppression looks like. It's taking your energy. You don't think it is because that's not the frame you're on. That's not what you're paying attention to. But in the background, it's running. All right. So again, you're not weak, you're drained from using your power to protect everyone else from what? From your truth. All right. Science confirms that suppression elevates cortisol levels, right? That stress hormone, and weakens your immune system and cognitive functioning. So when we suppress our emotion, we're actually causing more detriment to ourselves, right? Than to just liberate ourselves and allow ourselves to speak our truth. All right. So I want you to ask yourself, where is my energy leaking because I'm refusing to feel? All right. And I'm not saying that every situation needs to be felt like right now, but I do feel like the awareness of the suppression needs to be acknowledged on today. And then a plan has to be put in place for you to address that. All right. Number three, you can't heal what you don't acknowledge. All right. Healing doesn't start with the plan, it starts with the truth, right? That's what I'm saying. Like you have to become aware first, and then we put the plan. Okay. You have to acknowledge it first. And then we put the plan in place. Listen, you don't have to fix it yet. You don't even have to explain it. All right. You just have to own it. I'm angry. I'm still hurt. I feel abandoned. I'm grieving what I didn't get to grieve. I want more and I'm scared to admit it, right? I want to encourage you to step into and acknowledging these feelings, right? That's where real healing starts. And that's where the shift starts to happen because what's hidden can't be helped, you guys. But what you expose, we can start loving on that. All right. And you can start learning how to love on that. So I want you to ask yourself, what truth do I need to say to myself before I say it to anyone else? Because this is a personal journey. And that's why I say season two, this is personal. This is not about you confronting anybody, right? This is about you coming head to head with you, acknowledging some things about you, forgiving some things, right? Accepting some things, right? Just getting back in relationship with you, right? And then when we get back in relationship with ourselves, then we can start loving on us. And when we love on us, then our interactions with others starts to shift. And then when those interactions start to shift, our focus becomes very different. What we conversate about, what we pay attention to becomes different. And as a consequence of that, guess what? Our emotions are manageable and digestible. We find ourselves having more energy, and then our capacity is expand because we are what? We are addressing our life. All right. And we may do it scared, we may do it with a lot of uncertainty, but we establish faith and we move. All right. And we do the things that we need to do for us so we can experience something different. Now, this may not be for you if that's not your experience, and that's okay, right? If that's not your experience, but a lot of us are stuck emotionally and otherwise, and we don't know how to move. All right. Number four, feeling isn't failure, it's freedom. So somewhere you were taught that feeling means breaking, that tears equate to weakness, and that emotions is messy. But it's not, you guys. Emotions is information. All right. And when you feel it honestly, when you allow yourself to feel it honestly, you move it through your system. And as it moves through your system, it communicates what needs to be communicated. All right. So crying can be very cleansing. Anger can be very clarifying. Sadness slows you down enough so you can finally find yourself and look at yourself, right? And have some compassion for yourself. If you think about when you see somebody sad, a kid that's sad, what do you want to do? You want to go hug them. Oh, come here, give me a hug, right? So when we can acknowledge our sadness, what we're actually doing, and I say every emotion has an opposite thing. So when we can admit that I'm sad, we're calling for the opposite, right? So we're thinking that if I don't acknowledge my sadness, then you know, but I want attention. I'm not going to acknowledge my sadness, but I want attention. Not realizing that when I can acknowledge that this thing made me sad, then attention will come, right? When I can cry, allow myself to cry, the cleansing that I'm looking for, the refreshing, that reboot that I need, it will happen. And I say anger is the first outwardly expressed emotion, right? So when we allow ourselves to feel the anger, it's not the anger, it's what you do with it. So you can get that clarity. All right. And science supports this, saying expressing your emotions reduce internal stress loads and increase what? Your emotional intelligence. All right. So I want you to ask yourself, what feeling has have I labeled as too much that might actually be my release? All right. And then last but not least, number 5, name the emotion, gives it motion. All right. Naming the emotion gives it motion. If you name it, you can move it. All right. So when you say I feel anxious, you can move it. When you say I feel trapped, you can move it. When you say I feel exhausted, you can move it. Now, I didn't say I am anxious, I am trapped, right? We're naming it, right? I feel anxious, right? We're making it something that we are experiencing and not a part of who we are, all right? I feel anxious, I feel trapped, I feel exhausted, all right? You give your body permission then to release it because you have acknowledged it. Listen, what you don't name, it stays stuck. And what we name, it actually gives it permission to flow. This is why journaling, speaking, therapy, and prayers work, you guys, because they turn the invisible pain into a spoken power. All right. So I want you to ask yourself, what is one emotion? What is one emotion that I can name today just for me? All right. Just for me. And my final thing in this section is speak this out loud if you're ready. What I feel is valid. What I feel is real. What I feel will no longer bury me. I am safe to feel, and I am ready to be free. All right. Why do I want you to say this? Because your energy is connected to your emotional truth. All right. You might not be tired. You might be silenced. All right. You might not be tired. You might be silenced. And here's the real value in acknowledging that. Reclaiming your voice gives you access to peace. It gives you access to clarity and wholeness. All right. And here's the evidence of that. I had a testimony that came through that said, when I finally admitted I was angry, not exhausted, I got my energy back. It gave me something. All right. And then research shows that the emotional suppression increases cortisol and drains your executive function. Naming it and, expressing emotions lowers your stress and improves what your energy. All right. Um, so if this is something that you want, stop carrying what's no longer belongs in your body and give yourself permission to release it. And again, you may need help with that, and that's fine, right? It's fine. Needing help for it is not the problem. It's you being vulnerable enough to get the help, right? To get on Psychology Today, to go on Better Help, to find a therapist within your community that can help you, all right, or a coach, or you can join a project, all right, or you can join a project, all right. So here's 10 truths. Again, we're talking about the life framework. We're ending this with energy and emotions, all right. And here's 10 truths I want you to know. Every emotion has energy. Okay, every emotion has energy and it needs movement. Okay, so emotions aren't meant to be held, they're meant to move through you. One of the things I tell my sons is let that move through you. And I can know when they're not letting their emotions move through them because I can see it, like, the head go down, they go to shrinking and they see. So I'm like, right? Stand up, straighten your spine, and let that emotion move through you. It's okay to feel it. If you got to cry to feel that, if you got to talk back to me to feel that, but just let it move through you, all right? Because when you block them, they become or they build dams within your body, all right? Number 2, emotional numbness is often emotional overload. So, numbing isn't the absence of feeling, it's your system shutting down because it feels overwhelmed. All right. Suppression, number 3, suppression is a stressor. So stuffing your feelings doesn't make them go away. All right. It creates chronic stress and fatigue in your body. Number 4, expression is a regulator. All right. So talking, crying, journaling, moving, these all help your nervous system to regulate. All right. So release is how you return back to center. So talking about what you're going through is a healthy thing. Crying, any way to move the emotion is good. Okay. Number 5, you are allowed to feel what you feel, and nobody can tell you what you feel. All right. So no emotions disqualifies you from love. No emotion disqualifies you from feeling safe. And no emotion disqualifies you from belonging. All right. You don't need to explain or justify your feelings. Those are your feelings to have. All right. Number 6, your feelings don't make you fragile, they make you human, and this is why you can feel what you want to feel. And if another person is not allowing space for you to feel that, that's more of a them problem than it is a you problem. Okay. All right. So your feelings don't make you fragile, they make you human. Listen, being emotional doesn't make you weak. It means that you're alive and present. All right. All right. And we want to be able to feel it again. A lot of people can't handle our emotions, and that's why we have to be responsible to get a systems in place that can support our emotions. I'm not telling you what you feel. You are allowed to feel what you feel. All right. You are allowed to feel what you feel. But if you know that what you feel is a gallon and the person you're trying to express this feeling to is a cup, right? Then it's your responsibility to go and create a system around you that can handle the gallon. So that may be getting a therapist, that may be having a coach, right? You are responsible for that. But what we tend to do is we tend to judge the cup for being a cup and make them seem inadequate because they can't manage our feelings or understand how we feel. And so we end up, in a sense, judging them and making them seem bad, or you're the victim to them, and you're not. It's your responsibility. You have a right to feel 100% how you feel. All right. And that person has 100% right to be a cup and not have that understanding and not have the compassion. Now, does that person maybe need to go to therapy themselves? Probably, right? Does that person need to probably work on their emotional intelligence? Probably, right? But I'm not here to judge that. I absolutely 100% know, though, that it's your responsibility to build a system around you so that you can move your own emotion. And that's nobody else's responsibility. All right. Number 7, emotional safety is the foundation of emotional freedom. All right. So you can only release what you feel safe enough to face, right? So again, creating safe spaces create space to heal, and that's your responsibility. And your current relationship may not be the safe space for you at this point. So you may need to invest in a therapist. You may need to see, like I tell people, I don't accept insurance, but like if you have the health benefit card, right? I can accept that, and then I can give you through the portal that I use, you can turn that into your employer to get like reimbursed for it, right? So I try to make ways so people can get the help that they need. Maybe you don't have insurance. Maybe you don't have a I think it's a HSS or HSS account or whatever, right? Maybe you don't have that. So now you go to your local like your local clinics to see if they have therapists, right? But in some way, this is your responsibility to create the safe space that you need to really heal. All right. Number 9, you don't need permission to feel. No one else has to understand it for it to be real for you. Back to what I was saying, listen, your truth is still valid. And a lot of times we don't validate ourselves because the feelings that we have, you go tell mama, I remember when you did this and it made me feel away. And your mama like, that ain't never happened. And you're trying to convince your mom that it happened. I can't believe that you don't believe you did do that. Now you're in an argument with your mom about something that she doesn't remember. Listen, if it's valid, if you experience that, then it's valid for you. Nobody else has to validate you, but it is your responsibility at this point to go and heal that. And part of healing that may be reconciling that my mom is never going to remember that, right? Or never going to acknowledge that. And how do I forgive her for that? Right? Right. So it's so many layers that comes with digesting our emotions, but it starts with you. It don't start with your mom acknowledging it. Don't start with your mate acknowledging that they hurt your feelings, right? At this grown age of an adult, you become the driver in your seat, in your life, and you put the systems in place that's going to help you to heal and expand in your life. All right. And then last but not least, peace isn't the absence of emotion, it's the presence of flow. So true peace comes when, guess what? Emotions can move through you without getting stuck. All right. Not the silence, not shut down, but flow. All right. And we're looking for flow in our life. And a big part of the reason why we don't have it is because we're not allowing ourselves to feel. All right. And we really need to. All right. If that makes sense, put a heart in the chat for me as we move into our biblical wisdom on this Self Validation Friday. All right, I really like today's biblical wisdom. We're talking about Psalms 32, 3 and 4. Listen, when I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. All right. For day and night, your hand was heavy upon me. My strength was sapped as in the heat of the summer. I'm going to read this again. All right. 32, 3 and 4. This is David talking. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. All right. My strength was sapped as in the heat of summer. All right. Listen, this isn't a metaphor. This is embodiment. God isn't trying to tell you this to scare you, right? He's showing you the cost of suppression, right? What suppression has cost. My bones wasting away, physical symptoms and emotional repression. The strength, my strength was sapped, emotional fatigue from spiritual dishonesty. All right, listen, and the root of this is silence. Us not acknowledging that we are suppressing something, us not acknowledging what we feel, not just talking, but the heavy, pasteurized inner quiet, right? The stuffing of what needed to be said, what needed to be felt, what needed to be cried out, what needed to be screamed, or what needed to be released. All right. God isn't asking for your perfection. God says, come as you are. So your truth is required. All right. So he's saying, I won't heal what you hide. I, I heal what you have been able to reveal. All right, so come as you are. So I want to give context to this actual verse. So this verse was written by David, all right, and it was a part of Psalms where he reflected on the emotional, spiritual, and physical toil of unconfessed sins, unspoken emotions, and internal silence. All right, and it's a psalms of repentance, all right, not repentance of religion or guilt soaked, or like a guilt soaked kind of repentance. This was David's personal processing of what happens when you refuse to face what's really going on in your life. All right. So, what does when I kept silent mean? So, David isn't just talking about not praying, you guys. He's talking about emotional suppression. All right. He had the guilt, he had grief, he had inner turmoil. And instead of dealing with it, he kept it on the inside. And what happened? My bones wasted away. All right. So, in that case, David is describing physical symptoms of spiritual and emotional suppression, loss of vitality, loss of clarity, right? His body was carrying the weight of his silence, all right? Another thing this verse says is, my strength was sapped as the heat of summer, right? This is an image of someone wiltering or dehydrated or heavy labored or heavy limbed, right? Basically exhausted, all right? And not because that this person had ran a race or did anything physical, but because this individual, or because he was emotionally hiding. All right. So if we was to paraphrase what that verse was really saying, listen, when I avoided my truth, when I kept pretending I was fine, when I refused to face what I felt, what I did, and what I needed, my body started breaking down. I lost strength, I lost peace, and I lost myself. All right. So Psalms 32 was written long before we had language of emotional suppression or psychosomatic symptoms or nervous system dysregulation. But what David was describing is exactly what modern neuroscience and somatic psychology now confirms, right? That when what you suppress in your spirit, what you suppress in your soul, what we don't acknowledge, right? Your body eventually will carry. So, elevated cortisol levels, prolonged stress, right? Fatigue from mental strain, muscle tensions and migraines, and even autoimmune responses. And we know that autoimmune diseases are in the highest, I want to say, in African American women, right? Why? Because we have something called disseminants cultural disseminants cultural disseminants. If you read my dissertation, this was what I spoke about. All right. Cultural dissimilance is when we give the appearance that we're okay when we're really not okay. And we did it to our slave owners, for our slave owners. So when the white slave master would come to the black woman and like, are you okay? The black woman had to put on this facade that she was okay. All right. And that cultural dissimilance actually passed on generation to generation. All right. And this is a way of suppressing our emotions, how we really feel. So we have the highest rate of autoimmune responses, and a big part of it is because we're not acknowledging the pain, and that pain is staying in our body, and it has to express itself one way, shape, or another. All right. And again, feeling heaviness, fog, and disconnect is another way it shows up. So this verse is the perfect spiritual foundation for today's lesson of emotional energy. It tells you that you're not lazy, you're not weak, right? You're not crazy. You're carrying the weight of silence created by you not acknowledging something, right? And it's time to release that, not because God's mad at you, but because God wants you back at your ultimate strength. All right. And to be there, then we have a responsibility as adults to acknowledge how we feel. All right. Again, a neuroscience connection, emotional suppression doesn't just stay in the soul, right? It settles in the body. Again, I talked about this. Chronic suppression leads to inflammation, muscle tension, sleep disruption, weakened immune system, increased risk of anxiety, depression, and fatigue. All right. When you hold your emotions back, your body increases in cortisol, which again, if you're trying to lose weight and things like that, it makes that harder, right? Because cortisol is the primary stress hormone. So in short, what you won't say will stay showing up in your body, and your body will speak. All right. So this is exactly what Psalms 32 is describing. Emotional dishonesty results in physical depletion, you guys. So yes, science supports the scripture, and the scripture already knew the science. All right. Promise verse for today, Matthew 11 and 28. Come to me, all you weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. This is not about a cost of salvation. It's really an invitation for emotional surrender. So come to me, not with your smiles, not with your productivity, not with your timesheet, not with all your deeds, right? Not with your mask, but come to me. Come to me with your burdens, right? Your grief, your anger, your exhaustion, your hidden resentment. Come to me with that. This verse is telling you that rest doesn't start with rest. It actually starts with release. All right, releasing that to God, giving it, acknowledging it. All right. You can't receive peace in your heart if it's full of pain. All right. There was an analogy of what you're holding on to. You want to have something, but you can't get it because you won't let go of what you're currently holding on to. So for life to work, you got to move it. All right. You got to move it so a new energy, a new currency can flow. All right. So in this verse, Yahshua Messiah is saying, bring me the feelings that you've been holding on to. Let's exhale that weight together. All right, together. All right, and neuroscience supports this verse. I love this because let's talk about the nervous system. When you live in chronic suppression, your body gets stuck in what's called sympathetic activation. And you've heard me talk about what that is: fight, freeze, or fawn. But when you start to feel emotionally safe, when you start to feel seen, when you start to feel heard and supported, even in prayer and journaling, guess what? Your body will shift into a parasympathetic regulation, which actually lowers your blood pressure, restore your digestive system, right? Gives you emotional clarity. Your sleep starts to improve, cortisol levels start to decrease, and peace becomes psychological, not just conceptual, you guys. So when Yahshua Messiah says, I will give you rest, it's already built in us. All right. It's already built. When we can acknowledge our emotional state and we can let it go, then your body will go from basically defensive mode to alignment of your highest best good. All right. So he's not talking about a nap. He's not talking about sleep. He is talking about your nervous system will reset because it's already by design. And that's what I'm saying. Like, as human beings, our bodies are so amazing by design. All right. So peace is not passive, you guys. It's what your brain and your body experience when they no longer have to carry unprocessed pain. So here's my question for you. What emotion is God asking you to name? All right, so that he can what? Release it. So that he can help you to release it. All right, this isn't about dumping everything on the altar, you guys. It's just about picking up one feeling, one truth, one loop, one wound, and bringing that. All right, God isn't asking you to collapse, he's inviting you to exhale. All right, so Psalms 32 shows us that emotional silence weakens your body. All right. Matthew 11 reminds you that emotional release is where rest begins. All right. And neuroscience confirms these both, that your body responds to truth, your brain heals through regulation, and your peace is not just spiritual, it's somatic, you guys. And so that's why it's not woo woo to meditate, to breathe, right? To do breath work. That stuff is not woo woo. It's by design, and it helps you to reset your nervous system. All right. So let's put this into practice. I want you to write down one emotion that you've been suppressing. I want you to say that out loud to yourself, to God, or in a journal. All right. And then I want you to breathe into the place in your body where you feel like you're holding it or you feel that emotion. All right. If you need a journal for this lesson, your journal prompt is, what have I been feeling but not admitting? All right. And then number two, my emotions are, so your affirmation for today, I'm sorry, is my emotions are sacred messengers, not enemies. Your intention for today and the remainder of the weekend, listen, I am free to feel and I am safe to release. And it is safe to release. And a bonus challenge, I want you to practice soft release. Again, you hear me say, I'm saying this softly, just a soft release. So take 10 minutes to cry if you need to kind of scream in a pillow, to dance, to shake, to write, right, to sit in silence. Just these very much micro times where we're allowing ourselves to feel an emotion. All right. Listen, if you, oh, let me do my call. So, I do my call, my challenge, and my charge. So I'm calling, I'm asking, what emotion are you acknowledging on today? Challenging you, give it a name and give it movement. And then the charge is to reclaim your energy by reclaiming your truth. You guys, listen, if today's session really resonated with you, right, and if it and you're walking away with some insight, drop a fire in the chat. Right, drop a fire in the chat and let's celebrate our growth together. All right, know that there is spots left in that in the Project Life. So if you want to join Project Life, make sure you go to sheetalittle.com/life. Again, join the YouTube channel. If you're listening right now on Elevated Life, go to the invite some friends over so that they can be a part of this conversation. Your takeaway for today. This is not about falling apart. All right. This is about falling into alignment. So your emotions are not too much. They are just asking to be moved, and you are the uh the conductor of this ship, the driver of this car, right? So you get to determine how they move. And I just encourage you to get back in relationship with your emotion. If the project doesn't work for you, I do have some spots available for some clients that I'll take on. If you want that assistance, make sure you DM me because we do have to get back into a relationship with this emotion, right? So, emotional takeaway, you are not weak for feeling, you are wise for noticing, and you are free when you finally let it move. And if you want help with that, again, make sure you reach out to someone. I really love today's conversation because I love talking about emotions and the importance of emotions. We have wrapped up this week's lesson, which is see the pattern. Next week, we're talking about triggers. And I'm excited about our conversation next week because again, we're talking about how not trigger, to talk about transforming your perspective. So how do I see my situation differently? Again, we're talking about the stories that we tell ourselves. So S is for see the pattern, T is for transform your perspective. O is for own your truth, rewrite your script, and then yield to the new results that you're getting. So I'm excited about next week's conversation. So I will see you on Monday. I want you to remember, if you could shape it in your mind, you could have it in your life. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'll see you on Monday for that life lesson. That life lesson. Thank you, Miss Sabrina. You guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Till later.